Continuing, we need to create editable, shareable document for data, as mentioned before, that can follow them through the grade levels, each student, that's easily accessible for our RTI leader and for our teachers to look at. We need to be able to pinpoint those low achieving students and diagnostic tests to find out what's going on. There may be something that we missed beforehand, and then we can start grouping students based on their needs. We need to be able to communicate what we're doing with this RTI process to parents. Usually parents of low achieving students are concerned, so it's important to let them know that we are trying something new and doing something new. And then have monthly reviews to look at the RTI data and break it apart and see how we're doing. There we go. So here are a few recommended programs, and all of these are researched, and I looked at them, and they all follow what Arkansas is doing with the RISE program, going through the 5 components of learning to read. And they're also both K-5. So if we collaborated with the elementary school, we could also, they would have something similar for RTI from kindergarten through 5th grade before they move on to middle school. So first is something called Voyager Passport. And this one really stood out to me because they had, the way the program is set up is it's split into 5 different programs, and it starts at phonemic awareness and moves through phonics and all the way to comprehension. So it looks at those 5 essential components, and then it also has a writing component that I think is really important because we do focus, at least in 4th grade, what I teach, we focus a lot on writing, and so that really helps those students. The next one I looked at is HeadSprout, and this one also goes through the 5 essential components, and it's more online and kind of interactive and less one-on-one. So depending on the needs of our teachers, we might use, both at the same time, kind of going back and forth, or stick with one. The reason, again, that I wanted to use a program instead of designing this for our school is because I think since it's our first year, instead of putting all of that on our school and our teachers to come up with, I think just starting with a program and then continuing to research and see what we can change going forward. These programs are going to need at least 20 minutes a day, preferably 30 for our students. So looking at professional development, obviously there would have to be, our curriculum coordinator would have to be trained on the course and then come back and train us, teachers and everyone, on how to implement it best. But I looked at a few other RTI-based professional developments. So on the right of the screen is some Arkansas Ideas courses. Teachers are always looking for those extra hours at the end of the year, and these would be great. There's one based on data decision making, one just on RTI in general, and then an overview. So another one I found, and these are like in-person professional developments that would come to a co-op or a school and teach, is RTI International. And it just talks about looking at that demographic data and applying it to your RTI program, which I really think is neat. It was the only one that I found that looked at different data besides achievement data and putting that into RTI. The next one was called Take Control of RTI, and both of these descriptions come from their websites. And they talk about the different tiers and selecting research-based interventions and how to know when to move on students and just the basics of RTI. So in conclusion, based on the achievement data we saw, the gap between the ready and the in need of support students is just continuing to grow. It's not going in the right direction. It's continuing to split in the middle. Through the use of a more vigorous RTI program, or implementing one at all because our school doesn't have one, and getting our teachers trained, we can begin to close this gap. Most research that I found, every time I looked at intervention, supports the 3-tier system to getting students back on track. So I really think our students should be trained in that. Here are my references. I also linked them on the document, trying not to go over 20 minutes. Had a good semester. Bye.